We will now call the business session of the February 6th, 2024 meeting to order at 6:08 p.m. All council members are present. Welcome to our guests and visitors. We provide an opportunity for the public to address the City Council on any agenda item or during the hearing of visitors portion of the agenda. On items other than public hearings, speakers will be allotted one 3-minute presentation regardless of the number of agenda items the speaker wishes to address. If you're here to speak and have not filled out a registration card, please see the City Secretary staff at the registration table outside of the auditorium so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation and staff will contact you. So staff can contact you. Oh, sorry, if you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation and staff will distribute those to council. If you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item of business is to consider the minutes of the January 9th, 2024 special meeting and January 16th, 2024 regular City Council meeting. These minutes were provided to you in your meeting packet. Are there any corrections? If no, those will stand approved as submitted. The next item to consider is 2024-55. And I'm going to go to the podium first. We'll have here. Austin Douglas, meet me at the podium, please. It's with honor that I read this proclamation to you. I, Dylan Meek, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Waco, Texas, do hereby proclaim February 15th, 2024 as International Childhood Cancer Day in the city of Waco, and urge all citizens to join with the city council, city staff, and me in educating ourselves on the symptoms and the impact of cancer in children. Let us unite as a community to support children living with cancer, while encouraging and supporting their families and caregivers. Childhood cancer is the leading cause of death by disease in children. And each year in Texas, over 1,800 children and adolescents are diagnosed with cancer. Researchers and healthcare professionals work diligently, dedicating their expertise to treating and curing children with cancer. Hundreds of nonprofit organizations at the state, local, and national levels are helping children with cancer and their families cope through educational, emotional, and financial support. Childhood Cancer International, along with the American Childhood Cancer Organization, has recognized International Childhood Cancer Day since 2002. International Childhood Cancer Day is a global collaborative campaign to raise and promote increased appreciation and a deeper understanding of the challenges faced by children living with cancer, survivors, and their families. Too many children are affected by this deadly disease, and more must be done to raise awareness and find a cure. In testimony whereof, witness my hand and the seal of the city of Waco this 15th day of February, 2024. Would you like to say something?
Thank you so much, Mayor Meek. My name is Austin Douglas. I'm a Baylor sophomore, and I am a childhood cancer advocate. Childhood cancer can be a devastating disease that affects so many in our community and in the state of Texas. And this cause is very dear to me, as I know it is to so many others who are here tonight as well. So I just want to say a special thank you to the City of Waco and to Mayor Meek for bringing recognition to this important day, International Childhood Cancer Day on February 15th, and for honoring patients and families who have fought and continue to fight in the battle against childhood cancer. Thank you.
The next proclamation I'll be reading is not going to be presented to anybody, but I think it's really important that I read this. And this is going to be a proclamation in honor of Commissioner Patricia Chisholm Miller. And as we all know in this room, that we tragically lost Commissioner Miller unexpectedly, and I think we're all mourning. We're mourning not only the loss of an incredible leader in our community, but also a friend. I think we can all think about many times that several people, if not everybody, in this room at some point or another has sat around a table with Commissioner Miller and saw her dedication to the community, saw her strength and her compassion, saw her wisdom on display, and oftentimes saw humor and grace all mixed in. And I'm going to miss my friend, and I'm going to miss an important community leader. And I'm sad to be reading this proclamation, but also know that she deserves the honor that we will bestow today. And so with that, I, Dylan Meek, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Waco, do hereby proclaim February 6th, 2024 as Commissioner Patricia Chisholm Miller Day in the city of Waco, and urge all citizens to join with the city council, city staff, and me in honoring and remembering Commissioner Miller for her distinguished career of public service to the citizens of McLennan County. Commissioner Patricia Chisholm Miller, a longtime Wacoan, attended Richfield High School and East Texas State University. For 23 years, she worked as the administrative assistant for Commissioner Lester Gibson, and her passion for public service sparked her own aspirations to become a county commissioner. Commissioner Miller began serving as the McLennan County Commissioner for Precinct 2 on January 1st, 2019. She was the first woman and the first African-American woman elected to the McLennan County Commissioners Court, being one of 6 African-American women to serve in the state of Texas as a county commissioner. As a visionary leader, Commissioner Miller believed in the power of unity and collaboration, always striving to create solutions to the challenges facing McLennan County and its residents. She launched the Lester L. Gibson Leadership Luncheon in 2020, which aims to introduce and connect local elected and appointed leaders to the community while highlighting key issues and programs. Commissioner Miller was awarded the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club 2023 Sojourner Truth Award and the 2022 Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Waco Alumni Chapter Political Awareness and Involvement Award, among many other prestigious accolades. With exceptional wisdom and a civic-minded spirit, Commissioner Miller provided her expertise as a board member with many important organizations, also serving on the Waco-McLennan County Public Health District and the steering committee to oversee the financing of the Doris Miller Memorial. Commissioner Miller was a woman of determination and courage, earning respect from her colleagues, her constituents, and people from all walks of life. Today, we celebrate the life and legacy of Commissioner Patricia Chisholm Miller. Her impact on McLennan County and the city of Waco is immeasurable, and her legacy will inspire many generations to come. In testimony whereof, witness my hand and the seal of the city of Waco this 6th day of February, 2024.
Well done, Mayor. Well done.
Mayor, if I will, Commissioner Miller loved Ella Baker. There's lots of leaders in the civil rights movement that you could pull from, but Pat loved Ella Baker. She always had an Ella Baker quote. And I was looking at some of her quotes, and the one that stood out to me, it says, "Give people light, and they will find a way." And that was certainly a description of how she led and how she provided opportunities for her community, not just her community, but the community, finding ways to, as you mentioned, collaborate and unify people, communities, things. And so now that she has transitioned into the heavens, she still will be light.
That's good. Thank you, Councilmember. We will now move on to public hearings, as we do. The first public hearing is Public Hearing 2024-57.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the comprehensive plan be amended to change the land use designation from medium density residential office flex to mixed use flex on property described as being 6.575 acres of land located in the TJ Chambers Survey, abstract number 7, McLennan County, Texas, and being a portion of a tract of land conveyed to High Five Trust, BJA Mark, by the deed recorded in instrument number 2022-017-132 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, known as a portion of 2300 South New Road, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of the Code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that property described above shall be changed from R1B to C2 district classification, and 2, that the zoning shall be changed from R1B to R3C district classification on properties described as 3 tracts of land, being 45.177 total acres located in the TJ Chambers Survey, abstract number 7, McLennan County, Texas, and being portion of a tract of land conveyed to High Five Trust, BJA Mark, by deed recorded in instrument number 2022-017-132 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, known as another portion of 2300 South New Road, providing for penalties, providing a saving clause, providing a severability clause, and finding determined at the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of land use designation change based on the following findings. 1, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for zoning districts allowed in proposed mixed-use flex designation. 2, that the property is located in close proximity to 2 major thoroughfares, New Road and Interstate 35. They also recommended approval of the zone change based on the following findings. The R1B to C2 portion that proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan as revised. And the property meets all the area width requirements for C2 zoning. The proposed C2 zoning is a dominant zoning along I-35 south of New Road. And the property, public infrastructure is adequate to provide for the uses allowed in C2 zoning district. Plan Commission also recommended approval of the zoning to R3C on the 45 acres based on the following findings. The proposed zoning is keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. The properties meet all the area and width requirements for R3C zoning, and the proposed R3C zoning would act as a buffer between more commercial uses along I-35 and south of New Road to the more residential uses north of the subject properties.
Are there any questions for staff?
Clint, I have I have mixed emotion about this. It's by Kendrick Elementary, and did the Plan Commission talk about that is also going to be torn down and construction will be done there on the same area where it's at now, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a bigger school. So was that talked about during the Plan Commission?
Yes, it was.
And so they were okay with the construction going on there, and then whatever happens in these other 4 tracks?
Yes, and I think the deciding factor on that is our future land use plan did call for that area to be higher density because of its access to New Road, and that it did back up to some non-residential uses like the school and church. One thing that we did, the developer did reach out to the neighborhood association, and we didn't get any opposition on the request. And then as part of the development plans for when they come in to actually develop the property, a traffic study will be required. It's not part of the zoning, but there are plans for the developer to build a street connection from New Road over to Bagby that would provide adequate traffic flow for the site when it's developed.
Oh, okay. It just so happened I didn't watch that Plan Commission meeting. I usually always plan to do that, but apparently I didn't catch this one. But thank you for clarifying that for me, Clint.
I also share some concerns about this, and I rarely do this, but this is such a critical, undeveloped land. I'm not saying it's the wrong move, but I'd kind of like to take some time and think about this. And I don't know if the council would entertain this, but I'd like to, would open a public hearing and move this to a date certain, just to the next council meeting, if council would be okay with that. Any Anybody have a problem with that? This is a really important track, and I just should have wrapped my head around it a little sooner before this council meeting, so I apologize for not. And we'll make sure I do before the next one.
Suggested that, Mayor, because I have, like I said, I have mixed emotions about this. Not only because of where it's at, but the school and everything that's going on in that area apparently at the same time. So, yeah, I would like to have a little more time to research this and look at it better. I don't know, I read everything I could on it that was here in our packet, but I'm still a little worried about that area. I know that it has to be built up, but what concerns me is the school. And how will it affect the construction of all of that that's going on? And I do know there's quite a few houses, residential homes by there as well. So I just want to make sure that, in my mind, I'm doing the right thing. I'm not quite comfortable yet.
Yep.
Yes, I'm supportive of continuing this, because we do need to set a high bar on changing R1B. It seems that we've always kind of been pretty reflective on that. But not saying we won't do it, but.
Great. All right, then I will open a public hearing, and then I will make a motion to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Mayor, you'll need to take any testimony in the public hearing first. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this item?
Good evening, council. My name is Robert Horton with Horton TX. We're the developers of the track. We represent the High Five Trust. We've been working closely with the city staff on the development of this track. We're looking at carving that into 3 multifamily tracks. We're talking specifically with a continuum of care, kind of an elderly care facility for the back tract. And then the city has expressed concern they would like to see some deviation in the product. So we would have probably a standard apartment style complex, we would have maybe a higher end complex, and then we would have a continuum of care, but and then retail across the front. We're also the developers of the tract directly south of this tract, the 10-acre tract there. We've watched this closely over the last several years and feel like it's the right move. We've made the agreement with the city staff that we'd be happy to put the road in an additional traffic signal, but we'd like to see it develop.
Could you tell me more or less where the road would be? I know
Yes,
you
you
said
see-
from New Road to Bagby, but
Yes, ma'am.
exactly where on this?
The yellow line that kind of squiggles through the site, it would align with the approach for the northern tool, and it would go straight back to Bagby. There's actually a piece of a road sticking out on Bagby where it would tie into. And the exact alignment isn't depicted there, but it's pretty close to that yellow line. And so you would have 2 tracks on the, I guess, the north side of the road, and then track 2 would be on the south side, and then the retail across the front. And the road would extend straight through to New Road. That splits New Road from a light perspective from 35 all the way to the light at the other end where it ties back to Bagby. So the placement appears to be pretty good for an additional light.
What does continuum of care mean?
Yeah, well, you've got some perhaps Alzheimer's type facility or elderly care, people who can come into a facility as independent, living in a cottage style, fully independent, and you can stay in this facility for a period of maybe 10 or 15 years, but as you progress through your aging, there's more and more care given to you through the facility.
Well, this sounds good. To me, I just kind of want to wrap my head around it a little bit. If you just be willing to bear with me on that, and I appreciate you being here tonight. And sorry for the wanting to kind of just think on this one, but I feel confident we'll be able to think about it and then be able to vote on this zoning matter at the next meeting.
One of the goals with the city was to make sure that the densities don't reach epic levels. We're trying to have a good blend and mix of residents in here so that we don't overload the area or the streets and the services. So.
Thanks, sir.
Dick,
Thank
do
you.
you know offhand how many units you would have for that continuum care?
It's all single-story, single-family style cottages. I'm going to say they're probably 1,000 square feet. I think the last one we saw was 300 to 350 individuals, and they're probably duplexes. You'll have one common wall between two units, but all single level. So pretty relatively low density, unlike an apartment complex, which would have probably 25 units per acre.
Is this
probably
something
more-
like what's on Martin Luther King?
Okay.
I'm not
MLK
familiar
Boulevard?
with that facility.
Excuse me, what?
He said he wasn't familiar.
I'm not
Oh,
familiar
you're not
with it.
familiar? Okay, thank you.
And we can go into this at the next meeting, if we vote to continue. Do you know if the level, or what the percentages of affordable units there would be in any of the things? Because I know you had one you said was high-end apartment, then a regular, and then a continuum of care. Is there a percentage of affordable units built into y'all's
I
plan?
don't have any specifics on those plans. One would match essentially the apartment complex adjacent to it, which I say high-end, it's more your standard apartment complex. And then the other one would be more affordable care. I don't have the dollar values on that, though. What's driving this project at this point is the rear track continuum of care. That's the one that would need to go in first. They've chosen the least busy, densest part of the property back on Bagby. That's the access they're asking for.
I would like to remind council that this is a zoning case with a zoning change that could include other uses other than the one being discussed.
I understand what you're saying, but I still have questions I needed answered.
Yep, that's great.
We're happy to answer any questions we can.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Is there anyone else here to speak on this item? I will move that we continue this hearing until
February 20th.
20th. Is there a second?
A second?
Second? Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield? Rodriguez? Holmes?
Aye.
Waterroot?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Meek?
Motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2024-58.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so a certain property described as a .4144 acre tract of land described as Lot 3, Block 1 of the H.L. McCormick Edition, a replat of Lots 1 and 2, Block 1 of the H.L. McCormick Edition, known as 1700 LaSalle Avenue, shall be changed from C5 district classification and become and be designated into C2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing saving clause, providing severability clause, and finding determined at the meeting, which is ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of request to change the zoning from C5 to C2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is keeping the land use component of the comprehensive plan. 2, the existing C5 zoning will eventually be eliminated per the recommendation of the comprehensive plan. The property meets all the area and width requirements for C2 zoning, and the proposed zoning complements the LaSalle Avenue strategic plan.
Are there any questions for staff? I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? I'll close the public hearing. I'll ask for a motion.
We're going first reading.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Aye.
Holmes?
Aye.
Waterroot?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Meek?
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2024-59.
Honorable members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing that the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code, providing that the zoning map shall be changed so that a certain property described as a .189 acre tract of land described as Lot 13, Block 4 of the Proctor Springs Edition, known as 2004 North 4th Street, shall be changed from R2 district classification and become and be designated in the O3 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finding determinant at the meeting which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. After the Plan Commission meeting, the applicant submitted a request to withdraw their application per Section 28-132 of the zoning ordinance. City Council must hold a public hearing and vote on the request to withdraw. Staff does recommend approval of the withdrawal.
Other questions for staff? I will open a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I'll move that we allow the withdrawal.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Holmes,
Aye.
Warder. Ewing,
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2024-60.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the city of Waco, Texas, abandoning a .05 acres of land in the Lee R. Davis Survey, abstract number 309 in the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, and being out of a portion of North 25th Street right-of-way, dedicated for street right-of-way on the plat, the Brickman edition of record in volume 1288, page 877 of the deed records, McLennan County, Texas, and located adjacent to Lot 9, Block 1 of the Brickman edition, known as 2527 Stewart Drive, adopting findings and conditions from the Waco Plan Commission for the abandonment, finding no duty to maintain, authorizing the city manager to execute quitclaim deeds, and providing a severability clause, and finding and determining that the meeting in which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 10-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the abandonment request based on the following findings and condition. The findings that public use of the undeveloped right-of-way is not required for proper flow of traffic or for emergency vehicle access to the area or adjacent properties. And then utility access for surrounding properties is not adversely impacted by the abandonment of the right-of-way. Plan Commission did have one condition: reduce the size of the abandonment parcel to keep a minimum 5-foot right-of-way between the abandonment parcel and the existing concrete drive approach. And that has been completed and met.
Are there any questions for staff?
Mayor, not a question, but just an observation. On our packet, it says District 2, and in the presentation here on RTV is District 5, and I think it is District 5.
Yeah, I apologize for
I
that.
was trying to look for Stewart Drive in my area, and I said, I've lived here a long time, don't remember. But anyway,
It's the other end of 25th Street.
thank you.
Sorry about that.
Any other questions for staff? We will open a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? If not, I'll close the public hearing and ask for,
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and
Evening.
honored council members. My name is Robert Ross, and I'm resident of 2527 Stewart Drive. I appreciated what you had to share about the slogan that Commissioner Miller had. And in view of the wise words of Commissioner Miller, give them light and they will find a way. Well, several years ago, I was given light of the possibility of being able to gain access to an abandoned piece of property, a portion of it, behind our house. And after counsel with Clint Peters and talking about how I would go about presenting the possible way to be able to find as a result of that light, and that's why I'm here today. I'm just pursuing that way by coming in front of this council, and I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak on this item? Good.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Raimundo Garcia, and I live at 4243 North 25th Street, which abuts to this right-of-way abandonment request. I am asking that this case be held in abeyance until our abandonment request of 2 years ago for the same property be adjudicated and be investigated as to why Mr. Clint Peters, Allison Duncan, and Chris Randazzo have failed to process our request that has 12 residents consenting to the closure of North 25th as it was for 60 years. Mr. Ross's request does not meet the City of Waco abandonment process. A hearing was scheduled without any signatures of any adjoining property owners within the block. 1 week prior to the November 28th hearing, Mr. Ross sends me and Ruth Bennett a text asking for our signatures. Mr. Ross is being given back land that was dedicated for a future road that never was opened. I and Ruth Benefit have a right to half of the right-of-way land, also according to city rules. Abandoned property reverts to adjoining property owners on an equal basis if that portion of the property
had been previously dedicated for that use through the subdivision process. And this is another neighbor. Mr. Dunlap is not entitled to any of the dedicated land for the proposed road because he did not give up any land for that road, potential road that never was built. Generally speaking, a non-abutting owner has no protectable property rights in a nearby street. A case decided by the Texas Supreme Court representing this proposition that a non-abutting property owner has no property rights in a closed street was decided in 1935. In another case, the court found that the city, although having clear authority to close and vacate streets, could do so only in the public interest and not for a purely private concern. Mr. Dunlap was authorized by Clint Peters to tear down trees to establish a private road on city property for business purposes without the knowledge of any of the residents on 25th Street or Stewart Avenue. That's all I have.
Thanks, sir. Is there anyone else here to speak on this item? Okay.
Hello, my name is Ruth Williamson Bidnett. My property is located at 2525 Stewart Drive, Waco, Texas, which abuts the North 25th Street. My mother bought her property back because of the property behind the house. There was not going to be anything there. So we enjoyed having no traffic back there, no problems, no noise, enjoyed the trees. And then all of a sudden, one day, Mr. Dunlap puts a street back there. None of us know about it. None of us were contacted. So it just showed up. A fire hydrant was moved from one side of the road to the other. Nobody said anything. I got a fire hydrant behind my fence now. A concrete street going all the way. Why? So that he can have his own private drive. That gives him 3 now. His own personal driveway. A driveway along the side of Mr. Ross's house that he claims he doesn't have, but I watched him tear it up. And then, of course, the one in the back. My opinion is Dale Dunlap is not an abutting neighbor on 25th because the barrier ended between my property and Ray's property, right where my RV garage starts. So you figure I got an RV garage, that much space, all the way to his property that he poured concrete. Can't find out who authorized it, why, when. I have questions about that. And I really don't like having that back there because now there's traffic. And it's noise. And that's the reason we bought the house, is because of the quiet. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak on this item? If not, I will close the public hearing. And I do have a question. We're moving to this is for the abandonment of an existing street. Is that correct, Clint?
It's just the right-of-way for the street. There's
Right-of-way for the street. There's no street, but there is city right-of-way for a street.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Clint, if you don't mind, just answering a few questions. I'm looking at a map that's on like packet 181. That's kind of the bird's eye view and close-up of these properties. And just, I guess I'm trying to figure out, there's some, Mr. Ross is seeking, there's an abandonment of the right-of-way where a street at one time may have been built or could have been built in the future, but there is not a street there. But there's a city right-of-way in the event that a street would be built there?
Correct. So the 25th Street right-of-way currently dead ends into Mr. Dunlap's property, which is a large property off of Shady Glen that goes back there. The right-of-way that Mr. Ross is requesting to abandon, the street was never built in that portion of the right-of-way. The street, 25th Street actually stops up further where you see the yellow line on page 181.
On page what?
That's where the street
181.
On 181. Does it stop at the,
Top of the box.
at the top of the box or the bottom of the box?
The top of the box.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Garcia had also had a portion of the right-of-way in 2017 abandoned to him. Is that
Correct. So
correct?
there was two subdivisions that dedicated right-of-way for 25th Street. The Brickman subdivision, which is the lots that face out to Stewart. And then there was the Ludke subdivision on the other side of 25th Street where Mr. Garcia's property is. He abandoned the portion of 25th Street right-of-way that was in the Ludke addition back in 2017. So he abandoned the portion, city council approved it, that was entitled to him.
Okay.
And so Mr. Ross is asking for the abandonment of the portion of the right-of-way that's entitled to him legally. And then we have to reserve an area for Mr. Dunlap to keep his access to 25th Street. And so that's why where you see on that map where it says approved driveway approach built by Dunlap in 2017, that is a concrete driveway that goes from the Dunlap property to the end of the 25th Street. And so that's a driveway, and that has to be, that access is legal access for Mr. Dunlap, and we have to retain that access.
Is it legal access because he built the driveway and he was already using it, and so at the time these requests for right-of-way, it was like, hey, he's already using it?
The right-of-way was abutting his property, and he had legal rights to attach a driveway from his property to the end of the street.
Okay. I think,
Yeah.
I think that makes, I'm just trying to get a sense of the history here, a little
Yeah,
complicated.
yeah, the context. Anything else on it?
No, I think, Mr. Dunlap is not here tonight. He did not speak to us.
That's right. And this does not impact any access to either Mr. Dunlap's property or Mr. Garcia's property. That will all be maintained with the existing right-of-way in place.
Okay, thank you for that.
Is there the crosshatched area there, it's more triangular shaped? Is there a possibility that Mr. Garcia could get some more of that to make it a rectangular shape, or is that?
No, that's the only part that was dedicated out of his addition, the land that was dedicated with his property for 25th Street, that was all of that in the Ludke addition. Everything else in the Brickman addition, if Mr. Dunlap said, I don't want my access anymore, that whole right-of-way could be abandoned. The rest of that area between the two additions is a Brickman addition. So if the remainder of that right-of-way be abandoned, it would go to Mr. Ross because it was dedicated out of the Brickman addition.
So
It's a little unusual. Usually when you have a right-of-way, it was dedicated in an addition that was on both sides of the street. So usually it's halfway. Well, this is an unusual situation where part of it was dedicated with one subdivision and part of it was, about a third of it was dedicated with one subdivision and 2/3 of it were dedicated with the other subdivision. So when you abandon the right-of-way, it goes back to the underlying original property owner, which in this case would be the Brickman side.
So does all that in the middle is still technically City of Waco?
Yes, that needs to stay right-of-way because Mr. Dunlap has legal access to that.
And I didn't want to cut off Councilmember Holmes, but I think the only other follow-up question I had is there was talk of like there was an effort by the neighbors to close off 25th that came before us a few years ago. Can you give us a quick summary on that? Just I want to make sure that they legally probably couldn't because legal access was.
That's correct. I think the idea would be that that all of that unbuilt right-of-way would be abandoned, therefore denying Mr. Dunlap access to 25th Street, and that's just, he has legal rights to that access.
To be clear, this does not have any impact on Mr. Dunlap at all.
Right, and that's why we had that condition to move the abandoned area 5 feet off his driveway so it doesn't impact his access.
Okay.
And Mr. Garcia can use that driveway, and I believe does, to access his property as well, so that will retain as well.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? I will ask for a motion.
I'll move to approve based on staff findings and conditions.
Second.
Discussion. Sorry.
I'm trying to understand what the conflict is because I don't know what the conflict is.
I don't either.
I think the conflict
There's a complicated history there among the neighbors of what Mr. Dunlap, who's not here tonight, did in using that access. My perception is that things have not gone well between, regarding that right-of-way there.
For all intents and purposes, I'm just trying to make sure I understand. I'm not
Great.
an attorney. I don't play one on TV. The concrete road, City of Waco Road,
No.
Not technically.
belongs to Ms. who?
Dunlap.
Okay.
did
Because he has the legal right to access his property from a through street.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a driveway.
On a right-of-way, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing as a drive approach to your house.
Yeah.
It's just a lot longer because
Yep.
the street stopped before it was built to his property. So he received a drive approach permit to extend that concrete driveway from his property to the end of 25th Street.
Okay. And you said the rest of the area that is not, that in the lined property to Mr. Garcia's property, it belongs to the developers?
Yeah, so the part that is being requested by Mr. Ross is undeveloped. It's just a wooded area, and will just be incorporated in his backyard. It won't impact anybody's access to
That's just the
property.
white.
That was my next
The
question.
the white
How would
box is all
this-
we're talking about tonight.
That's all we're talking about tonight.
Okay.
Just, so whatever, if we approve this, it's not going to impact
The other
any of
neighbors.
the other neighbors?
Nothing changes as far as access to the other properties around there.
Okay, that was my question.
Still think there's an issue with Mr. Dunlop and the use of that road, but I mean, that to me is a separate issue than.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know
Yeah.
that we can do anything about that to here.
Mr. Garcia. Because I mean, Mr. Dunlop does have access to, on the left-hand side of that map, on Stewart and Shady Glen, but he's also using that back access as well.
I just wanted to make sure that this does not impact any of the other residents, and you say it does not.
All we're talking about is that white box, and
Okay.
and Mr. Ross here, it's pretty, that part is the cleanest part of the equation here, to me.
I understand the frustration, but I don't know
Yeah.
what we could do about this particular request today.
I think that's right. I think that it's, obviously, it seems like there's been some complicating issues along the way. And I do think that, I know our staff will work diligently to do everything that we can within the bounds of the law to help residents achieve their goals for their own neighborhood. And we're certainly committed to that end. But based on what I think we're looking at today, I don't have a reservation in moving forward based on the statements of the staff that this is not going to have an impact on anyone but the applicant. Any other questions or discussion?
I think you already have a motion in a second.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Please poll the council.
Fairfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Holmes, Borderood,
Yes.
Ewing,
Yes.
Meek.
Yes, that motion carries. We'll move to public hearing 2024-61.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is a public hearing to consider an ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, abandoning a 1.396 acre tract of land situated in the J. Bennett Survey, abstract number 136, McLennan County, Texas, and being all of the called 80-foot right-of-way to the City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, further described as Windsor Avenue and bounded by North 23rd Street and North 25th Street and blocks 3 and 4 of the University Heights Edition, according to the final plat thereof, as recorded in volume 65, page 613 of the deed records of McLennan County, Texas, adopting findings and conditions from the Waco Plan Commission for the abandonment and finding no duty to maintain, authorizing the city manager to execute quitclaim deeds, providing a severability clause, and finding and determining the meeting which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. By a vote of 9-0, Plan Commission recommended approval of the abandonment based on the following findings and conditions. Based on a provided traffic impact analysis and proposed site plan, the right-of-way is not necessary for the proper flow of traffic or emergency vehicle access to the area or adjacent properties. 2, the utility access and drainage for surrounding properties not adversely impacted by the abandonment of the right-of-way. And the abandonment of the enclosure of Windsor Avenue to through traffic are recommended for the safety of pedestrians circulating between facilities. We do have 3 conditions. A general utility easement shall be retained for the full abandonment area, 20-foot sanitary sewer, and 15-foot water easement in addition to the general utility easement be retained. And the development of the abandoned right-of-way must maintain emergency access to the existing buildings on the property as shown on the proposed site plan.
Are there any questions for staff? We will open up a public hearing on this item. Is there anyone here to speak on this? If not, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Mayor, this is a wonderful faith community that's a good neighbor, who's got some fine members. I'd love to move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Rodriguez? Holmes?
Aye.
Porteroo?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Meek?
The motion carries, and we will move to the consent agenda. Is there a motion on resolution 2024-67?
Second.
Second, any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Rodriguez? Holmes?
Aye.
Porteroo?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes. Carries. We'll move to motion. Is there a motion on resolution 2024-68?
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Aye.
Holmes?
Aye.
Ewing?
Yes.
Meek?
Yes, that motion carries. The consent agenda consists of resolutions 2024-62 through 80, except for 67 and 68. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move for approval.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield? Rodriguez?
Aye.
Holmes?
Aye.
Porteroo? Ewing? Meek?
Yes. That motion carries. Next, we have ordinance 2024-81.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, amending Section 18-83 and Chapter 18 Personnel of the Code of Ordinances, providing the number of police officers, police sergeants, police commanders, and assistant police chiefs authorized by the City Council, providing a savings clause, providing for inclusion in the code, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on January 16, 2024.
Is there a motion?
Approval on second reading.
Motion is second, any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Aye.
Holmes?
Aye.
Porteroo?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Meek?
Motion carries. We'll move to ordinance 2024-82.
An ordinance amending Section 25-133.1 Temporary Construction Speed Zone of Article 6 Speed Regulations and Chapter 25 Traffic and Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, to adopt a temporary construction speed zone of 45 miles per hour on Farm to Market Road 434 from U.S. Highway 77 Business Route, LaSalle Avenue to Loop 340. Repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for a penalty, providing for an effective date, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on January 16, 2024.
Is there a motion?
Approval on second reading.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield? Rodriguez? Holmes?
Aye.
Porteroo?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Meek?
Yes, that motion carries. And the next item on the agenda is the hearing of visitors. We do have two cards.
Mayor, I believe there's one more ordinance.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And this guy is dying.
Ordinance 2024-83. Apologize.
An ordinance of the City of Waco, Texas, providing the Code of Ordinances be amended by revising Section 28-247 and Chapter 28 zoning of said code. Provide the zoning map shall be changed that certain properties described as Lot 16 and 17, Block 9, Baylor Addition, known as 1622 and 1624 James Avenue, shall be changed from O3 district classification and become and be designated to R2 district classification, providing for penalties, providing a savings clause, providing a severability clause, and finally determining the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law. This ordinance was approved by a 6-0 council vote on first reading on January 16, 2024.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Please poll the council.
Bearfield?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Aye.
Holmes? Porteroo?
Yes.
Ewing?
Yes.
Meek?
The next ordinance we have is, just kidding. Now it's the hearing of visitors. Visitors section of the agenda, we provide an opportunity for the public to present concerns or address issues that are not matters for consideration listed on the agenda. Council is unable to conduct discussion but will listen, ask staff to look into concerns, and provide follow-up. Please provide registration information so that staff can contact you if necessary. If you have handouts, please let us know at the beginning of your presentation, and staff will distribute those to council. And if you're unable to approach the podium due to physical limitations, a microphone is available to be brought to you. I do have 2 cards, and the first is Mr. Eric Brown.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I do believe city staff sent some paperwork over to you. I don't know if you all have it up there with you.
Oh, I don't have anything.
It's in the email.
I got an email. Yeah.
Very good.
But-
Council, it's in your email.
Okay, your email.
I've got it. It's somebody, you did your job well. Somebody received it.
They got it.
I read it.
Well, I'm here to speak on foster children aging out of foster care. As a former foster child myself, I understand the challenges of foster children aging out of the system with no resources, no support, no family, no anything. So in the email that I sent over to you all, this is a support plan for young adults aging out of the foster care system. And I know we have a lot of foster care agencies throughout Texas. However, we don't have many that deals with youth turning 18, transitioning into adulthood. So you can just follow along or just hear what I have to say. The introduction to the support plan that I emailed over, it says, the City of Waco recognizes the unique challenges faced by young adults aging out of foster care and is committed to providing comprehensive support to ensure their successful transition into independent adulthood. And then this citywide plan outlines a multifaceted approach to address housing, education, employment, healthcare, emotional support, legal assistance, community engagement, and ongoing evaluation and improvement. And you can read the email on your own time, but it has housing support, education, all of those different things. And it has an implementation timeline as well for these things. What I really want to address with this aging out of foster care system is the emotional support and also the resources that they don't have. For me, for instance, growing up, I was adopted at the age of 11, but in foster care from 6 months old to 11 years old. And even after I was adopted, there were still some challenges, that I had to endure. So I know the challenges that most of the children have to endure. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, Hispanic, Mexican. All children should have a stable and suitable place to call home, even if they're, taken away from their parents. Let's go down here. I'm sorry, the email is very long, so I'm sorry, you all. I want to talk about this educational and career opportunities. Many former foster children face challenges in accessing higher education and meaningful employment by providing
We'll let you finish up. Take your time.
By providing educational support and career development programs, this plan offers the opportunity to pursue academic and professional goals, empowering individuals to build a brighter future for themselves. And this right here, I would like to partner with the council and also with other agencies down here to provide this educational resource for children aging out of the system. And the reason being is that many people don't think many children don't think that far into their career, or they don't think that far into the opportunities that they want. It's a quote that my mentor always said to me. He said that you know what's in a person's world by recognizing what's on their mind. And if their world is chaotic, then their mind is chaotic as well. And for many of the children that are in these systems, their world is messed up because their mind is trying to conceive why they're ending up in a system that was really not meant for them. And so I'm going to read this last part, and then I'm going to go take my seat. And then if you all want to reach out to me afterwards, you can. But the long-term commitment and suitability, sustainability. Mayor, with you and the council support, this comprehensive plan gains the level of commitment and suitability that is essential for its long-term success. Your backing will demonstrate a dedication to the ongoing well-being of success of former foster children, ensuring the support initiatives will endure and evolve over time. Ultimately, the support from you, Mayor Meek, and the council brings a sense of legitimacy, commitment, and unity to the comprehensive support plan, enhancing its potential to make a meaningful and lasting impact on the lives of young adults aging out of the foster care system. So, as I said, I would like to partner with you all on this effort and bring this issue, to an end, somewhat bring it to, not to an end, but bring some type of resolution to what is going on, and it's not just here in Texas, it's all across. So I've dealt with Congressman Sessions, and I've sent him one for the federal to try to get some laws changed concerning that, and I sent something to Austin so they can deal with that on the state level. But here on the local level, I wanted to bring this to you all so that we can try to do something so we can help those who are turning 18 who will no longer have these resources. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I appreciate you being here. Next, we have Ephraim Herring.
My name is Ephraim Herring, 1046 Chestnut. My issue is, we've been working on this going on 7 years now, and the issue's still there. My major concern is, I'm getting older. I am a veteran. In 2002, y'all tore down the house at 1046 Chestnut that my mother and my stepfathers lived in, who were all vets. So now what I'm trying to do is make sure that when I get to that age, I'm not fighting the same thing that I'm fighting now. I started in 2012. I talked to your planning department. I talked to everybody in that process to get that house built at 1046 Chestnut, because there is no documentation in your files on why that house was ordered to be torn down. So now I've talked to your building official before they built the house. I talked to your planning department before they built the house. I talked to the compliance department before they built the house. And I talked to the inspection department before they built the house. Everybody said the house required. Well, I guess between building the house and finishing the house, there were some changes. So I went through your ordinance. There was no changes. The people I talked to were the same people that signed off on something that's not in accordance with the building standards of the city of Waco. Now, if you give me your word that you're going to want me to do something a certain way, I'm going to do it. I'm expecting your word to go back and honor what you told me to do. So I talked to Bradley Ford. I've talked to Childress, Randy Childress. I've talked to Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez quit after I had a discussion with him saying, how can you approve something when there's no inspection? There was no inspection down the house. I met Mr. Hernandez on the 24th of July at the house and pointed to him everything that was wrong. So that document signed the 24th of July is not valid. Now, all I'm asking for you, and I had an attorney come ask for you to come out there and inspect it and tell him what the family needs to get that document correctly. Y'all refuse. So I'll be back every day until we get it right. Brandon Children, I've talked to him. He didn't sign that document. God bless you and be safe.
Thanks, sir. Is there anyone else here to speak tonight? If not, we will close the hearing of visitors. Are there any council comments or announcements? If not, are there any future agenda? Okay.
I was just going to say, I wanted to highlight, we've got some wonderful appointed staff on the dais. In addition to our wonderful city manager, Jennifer Ritchie, we just got finished with a Bar Association board meeting, one of the many things that she does in our community. Michelle Hicks and I are road tripping up to Clifton to see my Norwegian brethren up there for the Heart of Texas Behavioral Health Network opening up a new clinic in Clifton. So we're heading up there tomorrow. We've just got some great staff that works for this city and cares about our community and our region. So I just want to give those shout outs.
I just wanted to say as well, I'm having on February the 14th on Valentine's Day, a task force meeting, I think I said that correctly, of some folks that are going to help me with the project at Fort Casey Stadium for the Hispanic Trail that's going from Fort Casey to 29th Street, I think. And so we will be meeting here at City Hall. And I'm really excited about that because in all my 24 years of being on the council, I've never been asked to come and name something Hispanic. So that's given a tribute to our past Hispanic leaders and residents that have been here to help the city of Waco grow to what it is now. So I'm excited about that. Thank you, Bradley, Jennifer, and Michelle. Thank y'all for helping me get this task force. Did I say that right, Lisa? Task force? She corrected me earlier. So, okay. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Very good. Thanks, everybody. Well, are there any requests for future agenda items? If not, there being no further business, we will adjourn at 7:10. Thank you.